Jim, we spoke before about the original Terminator and how when you wrote that, that was to be kind of an anonymous killing machine.
Right.
And how Arnold came aboard.
Yeah.
At what point did Arnold come aboard on the original Terminator, and was there any reluctance on your part or hesitancy because he wasn't perceived by some people as being an actor?
No, that didn't bother me at all. Actually, you know, Arnold was my choice for the character. He was the first person that we offered the part to. We'd looked at some other people. I was really excited by the concept that he would actually do the part, because it was a little movie, you know, and he was pretty well known. And I always felt confident that we could change his image enough from what people were expecting for it to be a positive surprise, you know, with the black leather jacket and the sunglasses and the hair. You know, he didn't want to cut his hair, so you know, we you know, it was a whole thing. But I was very insistent that we make it as different from what people expect as possible. So I was pretty sure that it would have a positive effect. From the acting standpoint, I didn't know much about him as an actor. I just had to get into it and go through the process with him. And people really underestimate the amount of acting that he's doing in that film, because if they know Arnold, they know that he's this kind of, you know, very gregarious, outgoing guy. He doesn't walk around at that rigid kind of stare all the time. You know, he's doing a lot of work. On this film, he's doing even more work.
You know, a lot's been written about that you're a person known for wanting to control the movie and have a vision, and you're pretty, you know, direct about getting it done. Now I'm wondering how much of that is due to the Piranha 2 experience.
That may be a factor. You know, nobody's ever asked me that question. That may be a factor, because I did have a lot of anxiety over the loss of control on that. I was basically taken off the picture, then I was rehired later to shoot some second unit underwater stuff, and then I was booted off the picture again. And I was basically trying to cling on to my first directing credit, which was probably a mistake. I probably should have just cut my losses and moved on, but that was you know, that did have probably a traumatic effect. And so since then, I've always tried to maintain as much control as possible.
Now, with this film, were there ever any days when you felt overwhelmed that you'd wake up in the morning?
Usually just between sort of day 1 and day 100, just in that part. Yeah, the whole movie, every day. It was a big project.
Now, I have a real interest in footage that does not wind up in the final version of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in one of the trailers for this film,
we see Michael Biehn.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
Michael came in for 1 day's shooting on the film, and it was a dream sequence, and I felt that I wanted to see him in the film. I wanted to have, you know, his kind of good luck charm, if you will, in the movie. And it was a dream that Sarah has, where she, you know, there is a similar dream in the movie, but there were actually 2 in the script, an earlier one that was kind of a precursor to it. And when we cut the film together, it was much more powerful with it out, where you just see the second dream. And so, you know, that was, Michael unfortunately is one of the casualties of the editing process, but I hope that he understands. I haven't spoken to him about it, but you know, it wasn't like he worked for 10 weeks on the picture and got cut out, which has happened to people that I know.
Advanced trailers that are done way in advance, because a Total Recall video cassette, there was a trailer for Terminator 2.
Right.
Now, was that footage shot specifically for the trailer?
For the trailer, yes. That material was done by Stan Winston, who's a director but also a special effects guy. As you know, he created this guy that's behind us. And Stan and I cooked that thing up before we actually started production.
Okay. Now, doing big budget movies, do you feel yourself that you're almost caught up in each film has to be bigger now, or do you look forward to doing films little smaller budgets?
I allowed myself to go for the epic in this film because I know already what my next film is. And my next film is a small drama. So I know that as a director I'll have a balanced slate. Yeah, sure, I think when you're dealing with a sequel especially, there's a definite need to kind of surpass what you did the first time, to give the audience more. But then on the other hand, you've got to be careful that you don't get into the more is more syndrome, because more isn't necessarily more isn't necessarily better.
Okay. With secrecy on a movie, because this movie has a lot of advanced publicity, people wanting to know about it. Now, what kind of measures do you go through beforehand to make sure that word doesn't leak out about the movie or the script stays secret?
I'm very careful about the script. Copies are issued to people who are working on the film, already hired, and in the process of being hired, they sign an agreement that says they can't disclose the materials, and so on. So you know, it's handled in a kind of a top security way, so that the script isn't for sale down at the Hollywood Book and Poster Store, you know, a week after we start production.
No, what's this about a paper shredder? Was that any?
Oh, that's just a joke. Actually, as a joke, they gave me a paper shredder as a present, I think, for my birthday or at Christmas.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we are careful. We're careful with our documents, and you know, there are a lot of people that want to know what you're doing when you're a high-profile project, and I just didn't want everybody knowing the plot of the movie. I want them to go and discover it. You know, we've given out certain information that we do want people to know, that Arnold is the hero and not the bad guy this time, and things like that I think are important.
Okay, great. All right, thanks very much. Thank you.
I'm an interviewer's nightmare.